as for the next question, it looks like Noah and Tom are asking me, what are you using in terms of onboard deep processing and effects versus outboard or wave sound grid? What I would say is we can go, let's start from a kick drum. You probably want to see what I'm using on that. Now the deep processing available on this. Now for compression, the kick drum, I'm loving this opto compressor. It's really awesome. And I kind of gotten in a point where I'm not sure what I feel like. I feel like the way that this comp is set up right now is a fantastic setting for a kick drum, because I feel like it takes care of the transients and the speed of it, but it also has, with this burn function, I feel like it adds a little bit of a hold to it on the release, so it doesn't get too flappy, if that makes sense. It's something that I actually kind of want to work on too. I just noticed I was going through the file today and I noticed that I wasn't using the same settings on the toms. But, I'll try that out once we get back on the road. So kick, that's the kick drum. Now, the interesting thing about this is, if you look at the way my drums are set up, I have a kick parallel compressor, compressed version, and then a kick trigger. Let's move on to the deep processing. So let's go to the snare. I use a Silverface 76. You can't go wrong with that. Now this is an interesting little compressor right here. We all know what that is. Love this. It's great. This sound right here it's a trigger sound. It's a little hard on the top end, but it needs to be loud and aggressive. So I found that hitting this thing actually kind of hard, it kind of really rounds it out a little bit, but keeps the aggression, and it pulls a little bit of the harsh out of it without having to do too much to it. As you can see, the channel strip's flat. See here, what else we got as a note here. Oh yeah, toms. And toms we'll check out. This is the opto again. Kind of a fan of that opto compressor. The first time I listened to a dLive, I had this compressor set up for the drums based in the shop, and I was playing around with it, and then when I heard it on a actual PA for the first time, I was just like sold. I love it. I love the sound of this. Let's see here, what else we got. Bass guitar. Let's get into some interesting stuff here. Let's get to the bass guitar. All right. So a lot of input channels there. Bass guitar. All right. Mighty compressor. Now I use this on Zanny for the bass sound, because I felt like it was a Hofner-esque sound, a little rounded but distorted. Like I was trying to get some kind of a grit but a roundness to it. I'm not convinced I got it completely nailed, but something that I'm definitely interested in achieving, and I felt like right out of the gate this thing had the breakup that I kind of wanted, the sound that I was going for. And I automate the compressors. This is another question that I have to answer later on, but I won't get too far into it. But we'll go to my show, we'll fire off All the Good Girls. Let's see here, All the Good Girls. And check this out. It's changed. If we get to it, and then processing, there. Oh, it changed. Oh, which I kind of felt like was a little bit more fun for this, because I feel like it's the bass sound, if you're familiar with the records, a very kind of a thin, aggressive mid-range kind of sound. And I was like, you know what? I kind of feel like I want to mess around with it. Oh, love it. Love it. So we'll move on to guitar. Since we already covered vocals, let's do the guitar. So that's not what I'm using, guys. This is just because there's no guitar on the song. But let's fire up a guitar song. So like the first guitar thing that I think of is Bitches Broken Hearts. Let's do that. Let's fire this guy up. Bitches. What do we got on Bitches? Oh yeah, classic compressor. Come on, it's great. Super vibey. I love it. kind of a clean sound, but it kind of does what it's supposed to do. It fills it out. Sounds good. It's very musical. The attack just seems to be right for this song. There's a couple songs if I can find it. Let's see here. Wish You Were Gay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, so with Wish You Were Gay, I'm using this as kind of a rounder. There's a bit of a processing situation with this guitar. It's a particular kind of very thin acoustic-y sound. Yeah, and that's one thing to note too. It's very interesting to think. My guitars actually come down the same lines, and mainly because in the beginning of this explosion of her career, we were limited on inputs and outputs of the main stage rig that is Finn's rig. And Finn, all his guitars, his acoustic guitar, his electric guitar, his bass guitar, and his synths all go through a main stage rig. And that has limitations on the rig. Not anymore so much so, but we've had it set up for so long that I actually don't even really mind it, because I've gotten accustomed to having the acoustic guitar and the electric guitar come down the same lines. I know it's crazy, but it actually has been kind of working out. Finn is usually really good about getting the sounds pretty much there, and then our MD Aaron and Trevor, the tech, they work together to kind of finalize, get that sound a little bit even more polished, and then they send it to me, and then I'm like, all right, then I just shine her up. As for that, I think that covers most of the deep processing.